The Vegas Golden Knights return home after a short road trip as they'll take on the Minnesota Wild. We'll discuss that game and many more right here on PuckTime, powered by WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew. I've got Brian Leonard and Mr. Andy Lang with us. Guys, no Carmine here today, but we'll have his 6 and 60 segment near the end of the show. As I mentioned, Wild, Golden Knights, Predators, Blackhawks, and the Hurricanes taking on the St. Louis Blues. Welcome in, guys. Looking forward to a fun show. Comment below what you're betting and let us know how you did last night. Always curious about how everyone's feeling right now in the NHL. Brian, we'll bring you in. We'll waste very little time. What are your thoughts on Carolina and St. Louis? This St. Louis team, they've got their foot on the gas pedal right now. They haven't given up, but strength of schedule, weakness of schedule, they've had some good opponents, we could say, recently. Carolina, St. Louis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's an important game for both teams, actually. Hurricanes have won 5 of the last 7 meetings, 3 of 4 in St. Louis, and they've had the last 2 days off after that big 5-1 win in Boston. That was a huge game for them. Carolina ends the regular season at Chicago and Columbus. So they're in pretty good shape here to possibly sweep the board going into the playoffs. They currently sit at 107 points, 3 behind the Rangers for the best record in the East, with 1 game in hand. They are tied with Boston and a point ahead of the Panthers, so they're all very close there. So every game is important. When I take a look at the last 10 games on 5-on-5 play, goal percentage 53.33, very good. Expected goal 56.78, even better. You mentioned St. Louis. St. Louis comes in at 53.49 and 51.42 in those 2 categories. So they, too, are playing some pretty good hockey. They trail Vegas by 3 points for the last wildcard spot, while the Golden Knights have a game in hand. So basically the Blues need to sweep the remaining schedule and hope for the Knights to struggle. After this contest, St. Louis hosts Seattle, then has to travel to Dallas, their last game of the season. By then, maybe Dallas has everything locked up for the best record in the Western Conference, so they may be a little bit of a break there, but they need to win tonight. Tonight's the big game. Carolina deserves to be a strong favorite here, but I don't like fading teams with their backs to the wall. St. Louis has played well at home all season long. They pulled off a lot of upsets, so I think Carolina gets the victory here, but I'm not willing to lay this price.
And that's just the problem. You do have to pay a little bit of a price here if you want to take Carolina. You know, Andy, as we always say, must win does not mean will win. But as I mentioned to you early on and Prop It Up earlier today, I've been kind of focusing on when I am playing these games with teams in must win spots, look at the prop betting market. So what sticks out to you in this game?
Well, what sticks out to me is I think I can make the case the Blues are being, at least in the prop market, like you see these guys that they're heavy juice to the over on shots on goal and props. And I mean, let's be honest, the St. Louis Blues, yeah, they scored 11 goals in the last 2 games. It's to Anaheim and Chicago. Before that, only 2 goals against San Jose. So I'm not real excited to jump all over these St. Louis Blues players' overs. In fact, I think you can look at some of these guys just to not have points. Andrew, you and I talked a little bit about this. Like, if this game is a Carolina, 2-1, 3-1 win, and there's only 1 goal for St. Louis, you're getting guys like Busnevich, Robert Thomas, Kyrou, these guys who are on really nice streaks of getting points. But, I mean, do they get a lot of points tonight against Carolina? This is a Carolina team who has been unbelievable on defense recently. In their last 9 wins, they've allowed 9 total goals. So they're only giving up 1 goal per game when they win. I do like the Blues team total under 2.5. 3 goals is a pretty ambitious number for St. Louis tonight. Maybe you could see 1, possibly 2 getting in. But I think this game is pretty low scoring. I would be on unders. I love the plus money on some of these St. Louis Blues guys on their points, and I like the team total for St. Louis under 2.5.
Love it, Andy. And as we mentioned earlier, again, on Prop It Up, you play Chicago, you play Anaheim, you get some confidence, I guess, right? Now you got to play a team like Carolina that knows how to lock things down. It's, one thing for me, my favorite thing about handicapping is everybody looks at different things, right? But I hear a lot of people say, oh, the guys don't care about who they're playing. Like every night's a different night. The whole let down and look ahead spot is the worst used stuff. I couldn't disagree more with that. I mean, when you play Chicago and Anaheim, I'm sorry, but you go into that being like, all right, here we go. Like, this is going to be some open ice here. You play Carolina, they're going to make things miserable for you as far as your offensive chances created. And you look at Carolina, 1 goal allowed to Boston, shutting out Columbus, 2 allowed against Washington, shutting out Montreal, shutting out Detroit. I mean, this is a team that is rounding into playoff form right now. 6 of their last 7 games have gone under. And most importantly, in this situation, they've gone under a lot on the road. So when they do get on the road, we're seeing even more defensive and low-scoring games. So whether you're taking player prop unders, whether you're taking team total unders, I like the under overall. I think Brian said he was leaning towards Carolina, but not really a huge fan of the price in this one. That's correct, Brian?
That is correct, sir.
So, and you look at this game and this is one of those ones, as you mentioned, Brian, that it's not just a big one for St. Louis as the Hurricanes fighting for seeding. And that's the thing, is that everyone's complaining about the format that's obviously taken place over the last few years. It's not really new anymore at this point, but when it comes down to it now, for the past month, some of these teams in the Metro or in the Atlantic or Pacific, they already know who they're playing. They're just competing for home ice. And some teams are competing for different spots, but a lot of times it's just competing for home ice. And that doesn't help you just in the first round, but it helps you throughout the entire playoffs. We've got some questions here from Instagram, from Zekin10, player point parlay with Yossi and Forsberg, Pavelski and Hintz rebound after the shutout. Andy, I'm not sure if you're betting the Nashville Predators games very much lately, but if you are, any thoughts on Yossi or Forsberg? I mean, those are the 2 top guys right now, obviously top defenseman and top goal scorer. Are they worth taking a look at if this team does well? Usually those guys do well.
Yeah, it is. It's a good look. I have not parlayed player props at all this year. I just feel like it's just the payoff is not good enough. Like if I'm going to parlay 2 guys to have points, it just feels like this better be a really, really big payout. So like individually, do I like the guys to have a point? Yeah, but if something goes wrong and they only score like 1 goal and neither of them are involved in it, then it ends up, being a bad one. And then the most frustrating part is if they score a bunch of goals and one guy happens to not have a point. So I have not parlayed just player props today. Could hit. I mean, the odds would tell you they're going to put up a bunch of goals, but trying to guess 2 players on one team to have a point in the same game, it's just it's a little bit too difficult for me.
And Matty Crenshaw chiming in saying he's on Vegas in regulation. That, of course, is from the Instagram comment section here, guys. We are live on Shorts, YouTube. We have Instagram going, Facebook. We're live in all kinds of places here on WagerTalk TV, guys. Make sure wherever you're watching, you connect with us, subscribe, hit the like button, show us some love. You can find all 3 of us, all of our best bets and favorite plays at WagerTalk.com. Brian Leonard, Andy Lang, myself, Andrew McGinnis. And speaking of which, great segue from the question there about Forsberg and Yossi to bring us to our next game here. Andy, we'll go with Nashville. We're talking about them here in their spot against the Chicago Blackhawks. This Blackhawks team, they've kind of been a fun story to follow throughout the year because without Bedard, who knows how much anybody would even watch their games or who would even want to look at them. And that's the thing about the lottery pick and how rebuilds work into the NHL. But when you look at a team like this, Andy, is there anything you could even see positive out of them right now? Like, I have always loved the saying that Teddy has late in the NBA season when he says when a team's dead, they're dead and fade them. And that's how I feel about this Hawks team overall, especially in a matchup like this. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's I'm taking it under on Seth Jones on his assist. It's only minus 165. I'm stunned that it's only minus 165. I mean, this is a guy with no assists in the last 9 games, no assists in 25 out of the last 30 games, and we're only getting minus 165. Feels like this should be minus 200 or better. This is just assists. It's not even, if he scores a goal, you can still cash this one. So the Predators, they won 3-0 last time they played. I don't see a whole lot of goals coming from this Blackhawks team. So all the props on the Predators are really juicy. So, I like taking unders. I like taking guys not to do things and teams not to do things. So Seth Jones under 0.5 assists, and it's only minus 165. That's great value. Sign me up for that one.
Yeah, if you want guys not to do anything, you might as well be a season ticket holder to the Blackhawks this year because there hasn't been much going on for that team. Andy would have had his season tickets paid off in the first week of just betting on guys to play horribly and not do very well here. But yeah, Brian, I mean, you look at these matchups, and of course, this is a little bit more of a lopsided one. It's a Friday, so we don't have a bunch of games to choose from to post here for us to break down. But how do you find a spot to bet on this game?
Yeah, I agree with Andy on I don't do props, but being able to play against things happening. Everybody is pretty much wants action and wants to root for something. That's why, I like playing unders better than I like playing overs, is because you got to hold your nose and play it. But Andy's thinking right. I mean, I don't play props, but yeah, that's the way I would look at these games, especially when you got teams just filling out the season here like Chicago is. When I take a look at this one, the Predators have dominated the series. They've won 8 of the last 9 games. The only loss coming in this building by a single goal. So they've had their way against Chicago the last few years. They currently sit 6th in the Western Conference, tied with the Kings, sitting 6 points behind Edmonton, with the Oilers having 2 games in hand. So right now, Dallas sits at number 1, Vancouver number 2, Winnipeg number 3, Colorado number 4. So while Nashville can't move up in the standings, they can certainly move down. Chicago's just playing out the string, as I mentioned, with the second worst record in the league. To their credit, they've been bettable at home, 16, 19, and 4. I don't have the numbers right offhand, but they're an underdog in so many games. I'm assuming that's a profitable number, 16 and 23 basically at home. It's on the road where they've really struggled, and they've been bad on the road. And you find many young teams in that situation. Next year, they'll be a little bit better, and we'll be able to make some money on them on the road. But this year, I don't want them on the road. Luckily, they're playing at home here. But this is the second of 5 straight opponents for the Blackhawks who have been fighting for the playoffs. They just lost to the Blues 5-2 on Wednesday, and they've got Carolina, Vegas, and Los Angeles to end the season. You could come out and say the Blackhawks have won their last game, because you're playing, as I mentioned, 5 straight games here against teams fighting for playoffs. We've already seen Nashville has dominated this series. I like Nashville here. I don't really like laying that kind of number, but I can't see how you could play Chicago here. I lean Nashville. If you could find a way to play it, maybe points over, something to that effect, maybe Chicago under, which was mentioned before. But I think Nashville wins this hockey game.
It's Freaky Friday here in the NHL. Weird things happen, but I don't think a weird thing will happen in this game tonight. I think that the favorite is favorited for a reason. I think they get the job done. And Nashville is laser focused right now, guys. 5 of the last 7 games have gone under for the Blackhawks. And I can tell you what, it's not because they're getting a lead and parking the bus. It's because they couldn't score if the net was a soccer net. That's how much they are struggling. So in games like this, I want to keep it simple and just bet the unders, right? I mean, you talk about player prop unders, first period under, full game unders. Nashville, that's the type of team that they are, is they don't really blow teams out very much, right? Like, they're going to take on a Chicago team. They will get a lead and they'll sit on it. They could get 1 goal a period here in this game and win the game 3-1. And it would not shock me whatsoever in this one here. And this is a thing with them, is that their power play has not been very strong. Same thing for the Blackhawks. And lately, when I'm betting overs, I've been looking a lot at power play percentages more than usual. PK has actually been decent for both these teams, so that's pretty good if you're looking at the unders. And you kind of look at that game that Nashville's coming off against Winnipeg, where they weren't at their best. But I think that they should be rested here coming into this game and just put it on an absolute defensive masterclass. So I'm looking forward to watching this game, but hopefully, we don't see much of an exciting start. And on that note, Andy, I'm happy you bet more overs in NFL. It makes our prop show. We can, cheer things on together. Because I look forward to watching an NFL game with you someday. I don't know if we're in town together. I'd want to watch a hockey game with you because we would just be rooting against players to, it will be fun. And I do respect that you do, tune in and look at the game. And that's the thing, like you said, Brian, like you see that so much with all sports. Like I saw Tokyo Brandon tweeted out, telling people to not bet a home run prop unless it's a certain price, because no matter who it is, they're usually not homering, and they're every 4 to 5 games maybe, right? So you got guys that are just like picking a random day, showing up and being like, yep, this guy's gonna have a home run. But one thing, speaking of which though, guys, about the prices on that, and we've had this talk all kinds on PuckTime this season, and I'm not, anybody that has an opinion about this, like I'm not disagreeing or not, I guess I am, but I'm not arguing. Austin Matthews is going to hit 70 goals this year, guys. There's 82 games in a season. A lot of people say they need to get plus money in goal scoring props in the NHL for it to be worth it for them. I've got a good friend of mine. He's a diehard Leafs fan. He texts me like every second day and says, yeah, take Matthews to score. Take Matthews to score. I'm like, yeah, man, real creative pick. That night he'll text me again. There you go. Boom, another one, right? And the thing is, guys, I think it's a really important lesson. I think it's kind of like taking a guy in the NFL that gets a touchdown every game to get a touchdown. And, the way people get screwed right now is that they're going to take Matthews to get a goal, and they're going to do the same game parlay, and not the proper way that Andy does and actually construct it the good way. They're going to take his shots, take his assists, and take this guy and take them over 4.5 goals, and he'll get a goal and they won't win their bet. And so, I think it's so interesting that because we were talking about it earlier on Prop It Up about people being greedy, right? And not wanting to just take a price on a guy at minus 125. They want to take the plus 150 or whatever. So I just want your guys' thoughts on that. Do you guys agree with me? I mean, there's 82 games in a season. He's closing in on 70. And I hear so many people in the hockey betting circle tell me, well, they don't want to bet Matthews to get a goal at minus 130. And I'm just scratching my head. I mean, any thoughts from you guys on that? At this point, he scores like almost every game right now.
I mean, I missed the bandwagon. I missed getting on board with that one. And I've just been playing players to not do something. But yeah, this is, you're right. Just adding random parlay pieces is a great way to wreck your winning bets. It's a great way to wreck your winning bets. If you have a winning bet and you want it to lose, add a meaningless parlay piece. It's like those never work. Like absolutely never work. I'm with you.
I know you don't bet props, Brian, but any thoughts?
Yeah, it's very similar to the people who will bet the 3 biggest favorites in the NFL and parlay them up on the money line, saying, no, there's no way that any of these teams can lose. And of course, there's always is one team that kills you and you don't know ahead of time. But I'm not a parlay guy anyway, and everything I do is by the numbers. So if I see value, it's a good bet. And it's just amazing to me how a guy could score 70 goals in a season like he has done and will do. And just some of these guys are just, you can't stop them. They're just great players. And that's why NHL is so exciting.
It's incredible. And this is pretty crazy too. Austin Matthews, his even strength goals, so 5-on-5 over the last 2 seasons, 51. Draisaitl, 35. Or sorry, that's Austin Matthews this season versus Draisaitl the past 2 years. So this year, Matthews has 51 even strength goals, and Draisaitl has 35 over the last 2 years. So, I'd like to see Draisaitl on a different team someday just to see what he's like without McDavid. And I'm sure a lot of people would like to see that as well because he's kind of the sidekick, as we all know. But anyway, just throwing in some quick little hockey talk there. And, it's kind of a quiet night in the NHL, but gotta give people some respect when they're scoring the goals like Austin Matthews is right now. All right, guys, this is clearly the game of the night, I would say. I mean, Minnesota, they're fighters. They're battlers. They're not going to go anywhere. But it hasn't been an easy season for them by any means. And this Vegas Golden Knights team, well, they're not going to be happy coming home. T-Mobile here, Brian. I'm not sure if you're going to be at the game tonight or not, but this team here, minus 170 now is the current price I'm seeing, plus 140 the other way. They're off a loss, first game off a road trip. How do you feel about this matchup?
Well, I like this matchup. This is going to be my best bet, and I know I try to always keep the show as short as possible, so I'll just give it out right now. Marc-Andre Fleury is expected to be in goal tonight. He's actually been confirmed, and this could be his last start of his career in Las Vegas. He was a hero here in Las Vegas franchise, and when he was traded away, it was as if half the city was no longer Knights fans. That's how big of a fan base he has here in Las Vegas. But I expect this to be a real good game for him, a hero coming back, possibly playing his last game here. Minnesota's lost 7 of their last 9 games in this series, but they have won 2 of 5 in this building, so they're not a dead team when they come to Vegas. The Wild are out of the playoff hunt, as you mentioned. They travel to San Jose tomorrow for the second game of a back-to-back situation. Vegas enters play having lost 3 straight on the road at Arizona, a game they were winning easily and fell apart, giving up 6 goals in the third period. Vancouver, a game they were winning and lost it. And then that game in Edmonton where they kept some of the guys back home in Vegas and didn't bring a full extent of their players. And, of course, that told you how much that game meant to Vegas, and they showed up and did not play well in that game. So they're currently lined up to face the Dallas Stars in the first round, something no team wants to do right now. This is the Dallas Stars team who I picked to win it all before the season. They're playing really strong hockey right now, and as good as the other teams with home playoff advantage are, they're a step down from the Stars. So Vegas clearly needs to play well down the stretch to get out of this number 8 seed. They finished the season with 4 straight home games. That's a positive. In fact, in a recent league-wide poll, the players voted that this is the toughest arena to win at when you're playing on the road. I look for Vegas to bounce back strong tonight and return to playoff-type hockey. I like Vegas here. This is a 4-star play for my clients. This is the only play in hockey I used today. I lost my play yesterday in Washington, so I'm going to give it to you for free. Don't buy my 4% play today. Get it for free, and that'll be Vegas right here as my best bet.
A man of the people giving away a 4% best bet. Vegas Golden Knights on the money line here on the Friday show of Puck Time. It's certainly a great bounce back spot, and as much as it's a great story for Marc-Andre Fleury, the good storylines don't always work out. Andy and I see it all the time in the UFC. the nice heroic and sappy storylines don't always end up resulting in wins. Hey, Andy, what are your thoughts on this game here, Andy?
Marcus Johansson under half a point. He has 1 point in his last 16 games. I will repeat that. He has 1 point in the last 16 games. So you don't need a whole lot of breaking down after that. But yeah, just Vegas lost 3 in a row bad, but those are on the road. They've been much, much better at home. And it's a Minnesota team that's not playing great. They're, their last 3, well, go back to 5 wins are Anaheim, Ottawa, and Chicago. So, they're just not putting up a lot of points when they play a decent team on the road. They just got beat 5-2 Colorado. So I don't expect a lot of goals for Minnesota. So we'll just take Johansson under half a point.
Hey, 16 games. It's probably a pretty good sign. This guy is struggling. Johansson under for him. Man, he continues to struggle. Guys, I mean, looking at this team, this Vegas Golden Knights team, we talk about fading teams or looking to bet on teams potentially when they're coming back off an unsuccessful road trip versus a successful road trip, right? So for me, I like to bet on a team first game back at home after an unsuccessful road trip, fade them after a successful one. This team didn't just lose to Edmonton and Vancouver. They lost to the Coyotes as well. And that's not going to feel good. Brian talked about the home ice edge here for them. It is a great spot. It's a great way that they play. For me, I'm actually going to go ahead and take Vegas the first period on the money line here. It seems to me that Vegas, it's very indicative whether or not they're going to win a home game or not based on the first period. you can just tell if this team has it or if they don't after watching them for 20 minutes. This team either gets off to a good start, they're creating chances, they're buzzing around, or they just don't seem to have it that night. So for me, it only takes 20 minutes. We're going to go Vegas first period on the money line. This Wild team's been taking a lot of bad penalties, struggling to defend, and right now they are just lacking depth. Not that many goal scorers for them. And with that being said, all their top guys are being covered big time, and there's not many chances being created. So we'll stick with the first period money line play here on the Golden Knights, and hopefully they can get the job done in 20 minutes. Obviously a slow and quiet slate here on a Friday compared to Thursday. But we do have some games on Saturday. So we are going to welcome back Mr. Carmine Bianco to the show to let us know what he has going on for some Saturday plays for us. Carm, over to you.
All right, guys, time for the final 6 and 60 of the regular season. It's been a pretty good segment all season long. We've avoided the 0-6. We've yet to hit the elusive 6-0. A bunch of 4-2s and 5-1s, some 3-3s, and a couple 2-4s, I'm reminded, on occasion. But let's see if we can end it with a bang. And I'm going to do a couple giveaways with this 6 and 60. I want you guys to drop a comment in the comment section below after the live show is over. Let us know what your grand salami number is for Saturday. That's the total amount of goals scored on Saturday across all the games, total goals, and what your best bet is. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to get either one of them right. Just add a comment, and I'm going to pick a couple random names out of there, and you guys are going to win some PuckTime Be a Goldfish t-shirts. So let's blow up our comment section and hit that like button and subscribe while you're at it as well. With that said, let's see if we can get this done in 60 seconds. Dan, whenever you're ready, hit that clock. All right, Seattle and Dallas. We're going to take the Stars in regulation here. Stars looking to secure the number 1 seed in the West. They are 16-3-4 versus the Pacific Division this season. Winnipeg, Colorado. The number 2 spot in the Central is at stake here. We're going to take the Avs. They've got the best home record in the West. Avs money line in this one. Montreal and Ottawa. Ottawa's final home game of the season. Montreal scoring a few goals. Let's take the over in this one. Look for some pond hockey. Toronto and Detroit. Leafs averaging 4.43 goals in 6 of their last 8 games. Those are all wins. Desperate Detroit team here. We're going to see some goals, I think. Columbus and Nashville. Preds 8-1-2 run at home, covering the puck line in 6 of 8. 10 straight losses for the Blue Jackets, 8 of those by 2 or more goals. Preds puck line. Finally, Vancouver and Edmonton Oilers, 26-4-2 at home under coach Chris Knobloch. 21 of those 26 games by 2 or more goals. It is the Oilers puck line, and that is your 6 and 60.
All right, Carm, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure you find all Carmine's best bets today, Friday included, and throughout the weekend over at WagerTalk.com. And it's a great idea and a great giveaway he's doing with all kinds of those Be a Goldfish. Who does this guy think he is? A soccer coach here, Ted Lasso? He's giving away some t-shirts. Guys, comment below your best bet for Saturday or Friday, I guess, and also the grand salami. So make sure you comment below. He's going to pick some on the comments. We'll do a random generator, and you can win get a chance to win a t-shirt. So great stuff there, Carm. Best of luck to you. Andy, we'll start with you for best bets. Brian gave us his already. We'll recap, swing around the court here, but we'll start with you for your best bet today.
I'm going to a player prop that's plus 155, and I think this price is just completely out of whack, so it's completely worth the sprinkle. It's Clayton Keller under half a point. So he had a streak of 11 games in a row with a point, and that streak was never going to go on forever, and now he's gone 2 games in a row without a streak, and he gets a brutal matchup against Edmonton, who's playing great. Edmonton has allowed 5 goals total in their last couple games, and those are against good teams, Vegas, Calgary, Colorado. It's a great price. I think there's a chance this Arizona team scores 0 or 1 goal. So I'm willing to roll the dice here that Clayton Keller is not involved. And at plus 155 against a really, really good defensive team, I'll take the under. So Clayton Keller under half a point, plus 155 best bet. big bet I have up right now is UFC 300 5% play. It's been up for a while, and the line has been holding steady. So if you haven't gotten that one, grab that one. The line has actually moved in the opposite direction, so we're getting even better value, which I love on it. So got a nice weekend, but UFC 300 5% is where it's at.
Don't miss it, guys. 5% UFC play from Andy Lang, WagerTalk.com. I cannot wait for that card. There's not one fight that I'll be, stepping out or missing. That's for sure. It's going to be a great time. Brian, remind us again your best bet. You don't have to go full into the analysis, but what else do you have going tonight and this weekend at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, our 4% best bet. You just received it. It's going to be on the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Really love that play, and save yourself some money. I do have 2 3-star plays up in Major League Baseball, and looking forward to a big weekend here. Even though college basketball has ended, and it ended with a really nice season, we're really excited about the playoffs coming up. I do the NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs to me are the best time by far to bet NBA basketball. You know who's going to play. You know how many minutes they're going to get. NBA playoffs are the way to go, and they're right around the corner also.
I'm looking forward to it as well, Brian. It's great, and it's sad that we have to say that with all the money these guys are making, that they're going to play. It's a real shame that that's part of our handicap, wondering if a guy is going to be playing or not. But yeah, baseball in the full swing of things, UFC 300, NHL, busy day tomorrow in the NHL. So guys, it's a great time to buy a 3-day all access package. With me having so many sports going on, I'm dabbling. I'm not really high volume in any sport, but I'm picking away, picking apart some of these sports. Still a continued long-term 62% team totals run and totals overall in the MLB. Do a 4% best bet in the major leagues. Also a best bet going tonight in the NHL. But my play for today is going to be the Calgary Flames on the money line over the Anaheim Ducks. And I get it. Some might scratch their head and say, this guy's really going to lay this price with the Flames with how they've been playing lately. And I get that completely. I understand. But you see this all the time. I've seen this since I started handicapping hockey. You got a team playing horribly, right? A team coming off a game like last night where they did not look strong whatsoever. And you get a chance to immediately bounce back and play a lesser opponent, a weak opponent, a bottom tier opponent, and they absolutely drill them. And I think the Flames will step up in class here. Or step up to take down this bottom feeding team, the Calgary Flames. So I know people might not like the minus 150, but believe me, it's that price for a reason. So that will do it, guys, for the show. Wishing you all a great weekend. Enjoy all the games across all sports. Make sure you're betting responsibly. Best of luck. We'll see you on Monday right here on Puck Time.